Yo, what's going on YouTube, and welcome back to another Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate video. And in today's video, I am back with another monster guide, and this time we're taking a look at Deviljho. Deviljho is a bipedal brute wyvern first introduced in Monster Hunter Tri, and shares a lot of visual similarities with a Tyrannosaurus Rex, only with a somewhat more angry, spiky looking face. If you ever fought one of these before, then you know that they hit hard, and they have some pretty powerful attacks. But with the right knowledge and preparation, you should come out on top. So let's begin with exactly that, preparation. Deviljho's special move deals dragon element damage, so if you have some armour that is particularly weak to dragon, then you might want to either A, consider another set, or B, do everything in your power to not get hit by his dragon breath. In the event that you do, however, he will inflict Dragon Blight on you. Now Dragon Blight back in Monster Hunter Tri used to lower your weapon's affinity by 50%. But as of Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, it instead simply removes the status/element from your weapon, which obviously negates its effectiveness in the event that you bought a weapon specifically to combat his weaknesses. The easiest way to deal with Dragon Blight is simply to bring some nullberries with you. Consume one and it's gone. On top of that, he can also inflict defense down on you, which will lower your defense, and given how he already hits hard, this isn't really a combination you want to experience firsthand. So in the event that you do experience this, then Armor Seeds, Armor Skin, Mega Armor Skin, or even an Armor Horn will combat this. But what about his weaknesses? Well, despite dealing dragon damage, Deviljho is also weakest to dragon damage, and then secondary to that, it's weakest to thunder. Then moving on to signature moves, Deviljho has two main signature moves, Dragon Breath and the Lunging Bite. Dragon Breath is probably the one you want to avoid the most, especially if you have any sort of weakness to dragon. It hurts a lot and it spreads quite far. It is, however, relatively easy to predict. There's a decent animation indicator before it begins, so if you're close, simply either be underneath him or behind him. And if you're further away, then just put some distance between you and the beast, and you should be alright. Alternatively, while this is obviously by no means necessary, and also applies to pretty much anything, if you do have Evasion +3, Deviljho becomes a whole lot easier. You can evade roll through his Dragon Breath, you can evade roll through his Stomps, you can basically evade roll through the majority of his moves, if you get the timing right. And while I mentioned before, you should never become reliant on Evasion +3, Deviljho is one such monster that is considerably easier if you do have this. So if you are looking for some recommendations on things to gem into your armour when fighting something like a Deviljho, Evasion +3 is one of those. His other signature move, the Lunging Bite, deals some pretty nasty damage, but again relatively easy to read. You also want to avoid being jumped on, otherwise he'll pin you, and Deviljho's pin does some nasty damage. So in the eventuality you do get pinned, in order to combat this, bring some dung bombs with you. If you throw a dung bomb at a monster when you're pinned, not just Deviljho, any monster, then it'll get right off you. It's also worth noting that if Deviljho's stamina is depleted, and it does successfully snack on you while you're pinned, it will recover some of its stamina. And if you come out alive, you'll have defense down inflicted on you. So again, bring those armor seeds, armor skins, you know the deal, make sure you get rid of that, because after a pin, the last thing you want is another fatal blow. Now, when it comes to dealing damage to Deviljho, one of the most obvious places to attack are its legs, partly because it's a great way to trip him up, but also because he's so tall that some weapons will have trouble hitting his face or his tail unless he's tripped up on the ground. That being said, his head is his weakest spot for all weapon types. Secondary to that are his hind legs, as mentioned, and after that the chest and then the tail. And speaking of the tail, it can be cut off and carved. Plus, the face can also be broken. And breaking the head increases your chances of obtaining fangs. Tall fangs if you're in high rank, and hard fangs if you're in G rank. Outside of physically fighting the beast, you can also trap a Deviljho. It's susceptible to both shock and pitfall traps, however out of the two, pitfall traps are the most effective. You can also use flash bombs to blind it, and what's more, Deviljho will also eat meat that you place on the ground. Poison meat will inflict the poison abnormal status effect, drugged meat will put it to sleep, and tainted meat will paralyze it. This can be done multiple times in a quest, but just like with any status effect, the Deviljho will build up a tolerance to it the more times it's inflicted, so keep this in mind. And aside from that, when a Deviljho is weak, it will limp like this, and this is your sign that it's either ready to capture, or that you're nearing the end of the fight in the event you are going in for the kill. Generally speaking, when fighting Deviljho, sticking by its legs is the safest place to be. It will allow you to avoid attacks such as the tail swing, and anticipate a move out of the way of other moves such as Dragon Breath. And on top of that, it obviously puts you in a perfect position to trip it up, at which point you can then reposition yourself and go for the head or the tail respectively. And if you put all of this together, you should come out victorious in no time. And that, my friends, is it. If you have any questions, then let me know in the comments down below. But otherwise, thank you very much for watching. Take it easy. Catch you next time. Peace out.